That's how the slide guitar music becomes in. It's Friday Live 5, the Loki Network. Well, that's YouTube, all that good stuff. Of course, we'll join the Mighty Mech 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire at the bottom of the hour. And we'll have Dr. Kelly Victory on, hopefully, on that. The lead story of the day, the suspect was ID'd in the horrific killing of San Bernardino County Deputy Andrew Nunez, the suspect who flipped over on the motorcycle and is still alive, was identified as Angelo Jose Saldivar, 47, of San Bernardino. Man, what a tragic case. We have some more updates from ABC7. Hopefully, here we go.
Now, new details in the killing of a San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy. Today, we learned the name of the suspected shooter involved, now identified as 47-year-old Angelo Saldivar of San Bernardino. Inland Empire reporter Leticia Juarez live at Rancho Cucamonga with the latest on the investigation. Letty.
Well, obviously the investigation is ongoing, but 24 hours after that deputy was shot and killed here at this Rancho Cucamonga condominium complex, it's quiet now, but as you can imagine, residents very shaken by what happened. Today, we're remembering
as the video stops,
Deputy Andrew Nunez, who leaves behind a pregnant wife and a 2-year-old daughter. For many of those who stopped by his memorial today, they're remembering him as a kind and humble man. Outside the Rancho Cucamonga police station, a memorial to Deputy Andrew Nunez continues to grow. Strangers came by to leave candles, flowers, notes, and some to bow their heads in prayer for the fallen deputy.
It's a very safe community. We don't have a lot of crime or violence here, so the fact that this happened is very shocking.
Among the mourners, Nunez's neighbors, who learned of the tragedy from watching the news. They came to leave a Dodgers hat and towel for the man they say never judged them. The couple sharing a photo of Nunez at a game they bought him tickets for to see.
This picture, I couldn't believe it. Good man. No, good man.
The 28-year-old deputy was shot and killed during a domestic violence call to this condo in Rancho Cucamonga yesterday afternoon. Richard White was walking when he heard the sound of gunfire.
Up about this far, and I heard the shot. And then I heard the shot again.
The suspect, identified as 47-year-old Angelo Jose Salvador, took off on a motorcycle, leading authorities on a high-speed chase along the 210 freeway. During the pursuit, Salvador pulled out what appeared to be a weapon. Moments before, an off-duty narcotics deputy intervened with a maneuver, knocking Salvador off the motorcycle. Last night, residents returned home after an hours-long investigation, including one woman whose door was broken down by SWAT to gain a better view of the suspect's position across the way. Her concern, more for the life lost, just steps away from her door.
He's just trying to do his job and he died.
I will tell you this, that Nunez was a 6 years veteran with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, serving 5 of those years here in the Rancho Cucamonga community. Now, as I mentioned, the investigation is ongoing. As for the suspect, he is still awaiting charges. He will not be charged until he is medically cleared. He'll be facing murder charges.
So we think the charges will come
Every single
tomorrow. We will keep you updated on this tragic case. It's just heartbreaking. Other news. Federal judge certifies class action for all parents and teachers opposing gender secrecy rules. Summary judgment hearing set for November 17th could end parental exclusion policies statewide in California. Let's hope so. Let's get rid the stupid insanity that's been going on for far too long in the state. Bill Gates, and we'll have some more on this, said climate change, global warming is a fraud, basically. The problem, it is a problem, but it will not end civilization. Health and prosperity are our best defense against climate change. Temperature is not the best way to measure progress. He basically today said the whole global warming, climate change was a total fraud con meant to suppress you. All you got to look at Germany. This is the latest example. California, highest electricity prices. People are dying in Germany because they can't afford heat in the wintertime. It gets dang cold there. Because they took the nuclear power plants, they're going to go green. Now they're burning coal from Russia. Economic prosperity will extend your years on Earth, period. End of story. Not healthcare, not SNAP benefits, not Barack Obama's going to save you, or Gavin Newsom's claims he's going to save you while he's dinking your wife. Wake the hell up. Quit listening to these tutti fruities. Fraud the vote. Ohio uncovers over 1,000 non-citizens appearing registered to vote, sends cases to DOJ for prosecution. Secretary of State says 167 individual ballots have been cast in federal elections since 2018. It's been a hell of a lot more than that, Frank. And you know it. Finally, though, we're getting recognition of fraud the vote. Bill Saley's put in Department of Justice in 5 counties, including Riverside County here in the Inland Empire. And it's totally warranted. Ashley Zavala asked Gavin Newsom and Rob Bonta about why their new digs at the Capitol, after 3 years after they got new Capitol offices, why it's went from 1.7 or 1.1 to 1.65, 50% increase plus, and they will not tell us how much these new offices are costing. And the flippant answer is just ridiculous. No on 50. Look how they're getting outspent. The ad buys, will get into this in a bit. The Republican, if your son a right, freedom, liberty type, the Republican Party in California is not your friend. And they haven't been for almost 40 years. Donald J. Trump, along with Japan and Toyota, announced $10 billion investment in plants, manufacturing plants in the United States.
And I was just told by the Prime Minister that Toyota is going to be putting auto plants all over the United States to the tune of over $10 billion. So that's Toyota. So go out and buy a Toyota.
We like that. Go out and buy a Toyota.
And that's a lot to do with, because right now we have all the AI plants. We have so many things happening in the United States. And it's because of November 5th, Election Day, but it's also because of tariffs. And I was just told by the Prime.
So you can go to Toyota San Bernardino, get you a new Toyota. They're going to be investing $10 billion in auto plants in the U.S. Again, we'll have Dr. Kelly Victory on at the bottom of the hour and much, much more on today's show. What a day. Sometimes you just have a gut feeling. Like when somebody says, oh, you're all going to die of diesel smoke. Oh, we're going to freeze to death. Oh, we're going to burn up and the earth is going to turn into hell. Bill Gates came out today, one of the prime provocateurs on this whole climate con, same as the COVID con. I don't know why they love the seas. What they had the anorexic teenager broad that was on there. Oh, how dare you, and all this stuff. And they've been perpetuating this for years. Gates comes out today, says, well, you know, ollie oxen, that was all just a bunch of BS. Move along. Well, you know what we should be investing in is nuclear power plants. Cheapest, cleanest, 365 reliable power and things that are going to make us do that. Let's cut the crap. Life expectancy has went up, even though it's backed up. It's backed up in the U.S. Life expectancy has went up through not only the United States, through recorded history. As we have gained economic power and wealth, that allows you to buy better health care. Oh, if you get an infection at 22, you don't die of the darn thing most of the time. See, the life expectancy went up, not because people were living to 142 years, so less people were dying at younger years because until recently, better nutrition, better health care, economic viability, you were able to take care of these things. It's like when they pulled in Germany, when they pulled all the nuclear plants. Oh, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. You know, what's that Otani guy? You know, didn't he grow up by Fugasaki or whatever, that one that went, the nuclear plant that blew up? And the other pitcher on there, and that's where they all train their baseball players. Maybe the greatest player in that. Is he full of radiation? Does he glow in the dark? Maybe that's why he's the greatest player. Could hit home runs, pitch, or do everything. Remember when they said, oh, the Pacific, all the fish are going to die in the Pacific Ocean? When are we going to stop buying this crap? Stossel's out with a new one.
This environment.
We are doomed. Here's a little bit of it. Here we go. Here's one of the main stupid cackling hen witches who's really sharpening up her broom on this one.
This environmental catastrophe bearing down on us.
I keep hearing that we're killing the earth.
How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood.
But wait, I've been a consumer reporter for years. I've covered so many scares. Plague, famine, and perpetual war will kill us. We're going to run out of oil. Nuclear power will give us cancer. Killer bees swarm ever closer. Bird flu, flesh-eating bacteria. The list of terrible things that were going to get us is long, and yet we're living longer than ever. None of those scares turned out to be as frightening as the warnings, but I'm told global warming is different.
Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a
Remember when they told us the vid was different? Oh, if you don't get the clot shot, you're going to die. And not only that, your parents are going to die. Your kids are going to die. The climate and COVID con has just been, they saw the majority of you buy into that, just like the majority of you in California buy into Gavin Newsom's BS. Changes his story, maybe even faster than Bill Clinton did, and he was a master at it.
mass extinction.
The alarmists have evidence that supports their fears. Temperature is rising. The UN predicts that it'll rise another 2 to 5 degrees. But does
Shut the F up, you ignorant C. There's a place that bullhorn should be going up, her. Dude, we went through every 10 years that I've been alive, and I've been on parts of 7 decades. Oh, we're going to burn up. Oh, we're going to freeze to death. Oh, we're going to burn up. Oh, the oceans are going to drown. They're going to fill up. Worse than the flood of Noah, or whatever the hell that was. You should have to. You have to have a license or register to have a gun. You should have a license or register to have a bullhorn. Holy frickin' cow.
that justify the fear?
Please don't let our planet die.
Does it justify this claim?
We have 12 years to act.
We have 12 years.
We have 12 years before the effects are irreversible.
Yeah. The one who was banging Fang Fang, the Chinese spy, Swalwell. And Californians keep electing these crooked, selling us under the carpet idiot. Oh, we only got 12. Shut up. Shut the hell up, you stupid, ignorant fool. We should be building nuclear power plants from frickin' San Diego to Eureka, California, all the way up to Seattle, up and down the Mississippi River, from Miami, Florida to Bear, Vermont. And all points in between, small ones where we got a lake. We don't want to become Germany or stupidity or California.
Really? 12 years?
It's warmed up around 1 degree Celsius since 1900, and life expectancy doubled the industrialized democracies. And the
Yes, economic power has made it possible for you to live longer. Holy cow. How much more freaking evidence do we need? Macron, tidy pants, whatever, Trudeau, or whomever. Yes, Biden, the racist Obama. Klaus Schwab, all these cats. Don't say no, hell no. We're not listening to you. We're taking your money and your power away from you because you're selling us stupid. Holy frickin' cow. $54 frickin' billion. Gavin Newsom has rolled in. Here he was at the whatever global summit on selling you a line. Here we go.
There's no jurisdiction anywhere in the world
that is set now more ambition, backed up by not just policy and a regulatory framework, but by a record-breaking $54 billion we put up in this year's budget to fast track our transition to low carbon green growth. So, and with all due respect to those conservative governors out there, Greg Abbott.
Oh, Greg Abbott. You mean the one who's complying with the federal government who said, hey, fix your redistricting that you keep lying about over there? Hey, Greg Abbott. Yeah, that Greg Abbott that's doing that, that actually tried following your green mandate of wind and solar and jacking the electricity prices through the roof in Texas. And I don't know what got into Ron DeSantis, but he's doing the same crap in Florida. In fact, Abbott was following the stupid policies of California. That's because the Bushes got in there and the whole crew, the same that's ruined California, turned the Republican Party into a de facto left-wing kook, nuttier than the nuts in the Democratic Party. And you listen to this lying crap of sack sitting there with the broad with their skirt right up almost to her, you know what?
And others, they're as dumb as they want to be. And they're just doubling down on stupid, and we will not follow their path. We're going in a completely different.
He's telling you stupid again. He's telling you what works, selling the nice little chickie, little Miss Sexpot over there dressed in the sensual that at the Clinton Action the Clinton Global Initiative. Have you had enough? No. People are still going down the idiotic train. We're going to see in a week from today if you've had enough of Gavin Newsom. I suspect we haven't. We've taken too many stupid pills in California. Bill Gates. It's not. Global warming, climate change is not a problem and will not be the end of civilization. What the hell? Health and prosperity are your best defense against you know what? Against dying young, against having a life of being where you're just trying to survive an existence like the Neanderthal man did. He spent all his time just gathering food to survive. Astonishing. Ashley Zavala is asking the question again. Of the Capitol. 3 years ago, we built them all. 3 years ago. Brand new offices for all the congressional deals, yada, yada, yada. Oh, we're tearing that down. We're building a new one because we want to hide. So we got tunnels so they don't have to talk to Ashley Zavala or you or me or anybody else. It was going to be $1 billion. Now it's 1.65 in climate, and they won't tell us where it's at.
But Mr. Attorney General, you voted to approve it in 2018. Mr. Governor, the Department of General Services, which you oversee, is part of it. It has been 3 years since the legislature updated the public on the cost of that project. It is happening right now. Maybe one of your members could probably oversee. No one will provide an update. I mean, is that appropriate on one of the most expensive buildings in the United States at this point?
Boy, look at this silence. Newsom's looking at Rob Bonner going, hey, why don't you take this one, buddy? Like they're trying to figure out how to answer Ash's question.
You're my attorney. By the way, I don't think it's appropriate. This should provide you the information, period, full stop. But for you to conflate or compare and contrast is, with all due respect, I think that I would.
Look at how condescending he is to women. He still hates. Look at Ash. Oh, you're actually questioning me, Mr. Good Looking. Oh, the ladies just love me. Oh, I've been wealth and privilege, and I claim I was a poor black kid, starving to death, having to break into homes to feed my family. God. And then, how dare you? After 3 years, you haven't gotten anything? I think why are you questioning King Newsom? Holy bleeping cow. Ladies, he's disrespecting Ashley again, and you selling $54 billion down a climate scam. Bill Gates just said, yeah, we were conning you guys all the time. Ha ha. Of course, it's all Roy, the evil white hillbilly's fault. I don't know. It's really sometimes devastating. Of the kind of stupidity we're putting
You got about 30 seconds, Roy, waiting on the call.
Sean's choking from the global warming that Bill Gates said, oh, well, ollie oxen. That was another con on you, like the COVID con and everything.
This is fake meat.
Yes. Yeah, that's the next thing. Yeah, meat's bad for you. Fake meat is better. We didn't go through with this in butter and margarine 87 years ago. Totally.
Here we go. 10 seconds.
Best hillbilly hoedown around.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Country Spy guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire.
Dr. Kelly is with us.
Aforementioned AM band, join your vast video audience in the Evil Hippie Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, do all that good stuff out there. Man, tragic situation yesterday. San Bernardino County Deputy Andrew Nunez was shot. We saw the motorcyclist going down, and that he's been identified, the suspected shooter, Angelo Jose Saldivar, 47 of San Bernardino, was that. Charges will probably be coming tomorrow or Thursday. They can't come soon enough. Thank goodness for that off-duty cop that swerved in front of him and did that. So, I mean, I don't know how the dude's in stable condition and looked like 100-mile-an-hour that, but looks like he was pulling his pistoli out and getting ready to load it and cock it and shoot it at the cops again. So we shall see how the prosecution goes. Hopefully justice comes swiftly and quickly in this case. On that global warming, Bill Gates just said, ollie oxen, it was a fraud. Ha ha ha. Just like we conned you on the COVID, we conned you on the climate change and all this. But as we usually do on a Monday, but it's Tuesday, we have, as I've determined her, the supreme physician in all the world, expert on COVID-19 and just about everything else, Dr. Kelly Victory. Welcome to IE Newswire with Roy.
Hey, Roy, happy to be with you whatever day of the week. And I'll tell you, I really believed that the whole, quote, climate change, global warming thing was the biggest hoax ever perpetrated on the American people until COVID came along. Then I said, okay, climate change can step aside because this is an even bigger scam. But the fact that Bill Gates is now coming out and tacitly acknowledging that it all wasn't what they claimed it to be is just proof in the pudding. They jerk us around from one side, down the other, and then people fall for it over and over again, believing that they are doing the right thing. And unfortunately, I think the time has come where it is reasonable, totally reasonable to say, fundamentally, I do not believe anything my government tells me until I see real proof myself, until I do my own due diligence.
What did Goebbels, Hitler's right-hand man, say? Tell a lie long enough, it becomes truth. What really becomes dangerous is when you, who's telling the lie, come to believe it. And that's what they sold us this on. Peak oil, we're going to run out of oil, COVID con and everything. We couldn't have had the COVID con without the climate change con to lead up to that. Oh, they saw you buy this. Oh, well, we'll just up the ante again. When do a majority, not only of U.S., world citizens, start saying, okay, that's enough. You've cried wolf one too many times. You better prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt, or we're going to ram it right up your rear end, Dr. Kelly.
No, I agree, and I think that you're pointing out something that I think is pretty important and that most people don't recognize, which is that the climate change narrative and that initiative was tied really at the hip with the pandemic. Yes, the pandemic had lots of other goals in mind, including lots more control and even the issues surrounding advancing the mRNA platform. But the reality is, think about what a great way that pandemic was to limit people's travel, to limit people's fuel expenditures, to limit and get people used to the idea that you're not going to get on a plane, you're not going to get in the car, you're not going to get together. This whole idea of 15-minute cities, that everything will be provided to you within 15 minutes and you can, get to it via public transportation and you won't need a car and you won't own a car and you won't own a home. All of those things were tied together. It was all part of the Great Reset. One thing does not hang by itself. And that is, I think, what makes the entire concept of the pandemic so much more heinous, so much more perverse, because it was tied in with this larger globalist initiative.
Another thing we were sold a bill of goods on was universal health care. We got a chart. Melissa Ann Murray sent it over. Of the developed countries, we're last, along with Great Britain and Canada. And this was another con we were sold. Oh, you pass universal health care for all, da-da-da. We're going to make it cheaper. We're going to cover everybody. It's done exactly the opposite. Less people have health care. We're paying 3 times as much for half the health care, waiting 94,000 deals, and our life expectancy is going down. The reason it went up in the industrialized world, because economic wealth builds that. Now they're stripping us of it, and we're losing our life expectancy with the COVID con and everything else, and the climate change con. We can't afford heat. We can't afford that. More people die of cold by far than heat. Shut the heck up. But RFK, Mahad, Nicole Shanahan, everybody should be bringing this up and pointing these real world statistics out and demanding answers. If it's not this, then you, Gates, you, the racist Obama, you, Biden, or this, or Gavin Newsom, or whoever, AOC, or the whining anorexic broad that was in there saying, oh, we're all, how dare you? You explain it to us, because this is a real science. This is the real data, Dr. Kelly.
Well, I think that more and more, if people are willing to look at it, Roy, the data is coming out. The data are coming out. We have more and more studies now showing the horrific ill effects of the COVID mRNA shots. This goes far beyond any of the very important underlying vaccine discussion that we need to have with regard to what we are actually doing. It has been an existential, crisis for me as a physician to realize that much of what I was taught in medical school was an abject lie. Everything about the vaccine program was a lie. It was not the polio vaccine that brought the polio epidemic to an end. It was good, hygiene, better water, sanitation, and those sorts of things. Same thing with measles. There is not a single vaccine, not a single one out there available for children or adults for which the risk of death from the vaccine doesn't exceed the risk from death from the disease itself. In other words, the risk-benefit calculation simply doesn't pencil. This doesn't make me an anti-vaxxer. What it makes me is somebody who is now seeing, finally, the actual data that's being revealed. And they are doing everything they can, believe me, to still shut it down, to make it very difficult for the average person to find. And my heart bleeds, frankly, for the average parent, for the average American who's not a scientist, who's not a physician, who's not an epidemiologist, whose life isn't based on reading studies and understanding this. They rely on their pediatrician or their internist or whatever the CDC is recommending or public health experts are recommending. And the reality is they've been lied to. We now find out that it's not just the COVID vaccines that actually increase your risk of getting COVID, but now they've found in multiple studies it's the same thing for influenza. Not only does the flu shot not prevent you from getting influenza, it actually increases your risk of contracting any number of other respiratory viruses that are far worse. There isn't a single vaccine that has really proven its worth. And that, to me, is devastating as a physician. And the only thing I can do is be honest about it. I have absolutely nothing to gain. Unlike Anthony Fauci and Rochelle Walensky and Deborah Birx and all the rest of them, certainly, the CEOs of Moderna and Pfizer and J&J and every other vaccine company, I have everything to lose. I am simply being honest and saying, wow, I am now seeing the reality, and it's horrifying. And the best I can do to say, I am sorry that I was wrong for the years I was, and everybody knows I was against the COVID shots from day one. But the only thing I can do is try to educate the public and say, no, you've been lied to, and you've been lied to for decades.
Shifting gears a little bit, it's going to be almost 2 months since Charlie Kirk was shot at Utah Valley University. I saw that. I saw the report come on like within a half hour of it, and I jumped on there and saw it. It was all over the net. I'm thinking, no way this guy survived. But and I don't, everybody's running off with all sorts of theories, but I'm not discounting anything yet because when I saw that, and I'm thinking, and I'm no physician, I'm no emergency tech. You see him shot, looks pierced, blood's coming out his neck. He hits the ground. Within less than a minute, they're picking him up and carrying him off. First thing, if he had a scintilla, in my view, if you had a scintilla surviving, the first thing you do is stop the bleed. Stick your finger in it, jam a shirt in it, something. Stabilize him. And if he's hit in the neck, if you move him, even if he was still alive and he has a spinal cord injury, and you pick him up like they did, he would be dead of that. I'm thinking, why did that just did not sit right with me in the beginning. And don't get me started on the televangelist, but that Frank Turek comes on and says, oh, I went to the hospital and the physician said, oh, we did everything right. I'm thinking, holy cow. But since you've been in emergency room, crisis medicine, and all that, what's your take on what? And he had trained security. I'm sure they were trained in, triage medicine or whatever that or that. That whole thing right there, I'm thinking as soon as I saw that, I said, something ain't right. Why are they moving him out of there so quickly, Dr. Kelly?
Well, what I can tell you with absolute unequivocal certainty, Roy, is that the story you are being told is a lie. What I said, I actually saw it happen in real time. I was watching this, and it happened in real time, and I said, everyone was talking about this shooter on the roof, and I said, well, that's not an entrance wound, that's an exit wound. I have seen hundreds, if not thousands, of gunshot wounds in my career, and I know the difference between an entrance wound and an exit wound. So for starters, that wound in his neck that you see in the front was an exit wound. In other words, he was not shot from the front. Secondly, the rifle that they have associated with this that is not the type of wound that would cause. That thing could take down a bull ox and would have blown his entire head off of him. So that's not even the gun that was. But you're pointing out the more important thing is the behavior of the people around him. Not only did this, and I won't, argue with the idea that trained security would say, scoop him up and just throw him in the bus and let's get him to the nearest hospital, because if he has any hope of surviving, it's getting to a surgeon. But it was the behavior of everybody else. Within minutes, they are taking down this is a crime scene. This is the scene of an assassination. They're taking down cameras, they're taking down tents, they're moving chairs, they're handling everything. You would have had police in there wrapping that in yellow crime scene tape, and no one would have gotten near that site for weeks. Look at what happened after the Boston bombing. Nobody walked on those, 10 blocks in Boston for weeks, yet they have torn down the entire stage, everything, torn up the grass, repaved it, and removed every scintilla of evidence before the FBI ever arrived. I smell a rat. I've smelled it from the beginning. I can't tell you who did it. I can't tell you who was behind it, but I can tell you unequivocally it's not what they said. In the same way, by the way, that Thomas Crooks did not shoot Trump in the ear that day in Butler, Pennsylvania.
And I mean, I may not be an expert in that, but .6, my favorite hunting rifle. I mean, if it was an entrance wound and it didn't hit the spine, it would have blew a big hole coming out the back of the neck. I don't care what wound you had. If it hit him in the spine, it would have probably blew his frickin' head off. I mean, it probably was a high-powered round of some kind because of the cavitation and the swelling of that. But then this whole necklace thing. I mean, it's hanging down by his nipple. Even of the cavitation. I don't see, there's no way the cavitation of his neck, and then that's all soft tissue and everything else. I don't see how. I'm even saying there's no way. I don't see how even with the cavitation, it stretched enough to pop a gold or whatever necklace he had around his head that wound up. Then now they're saying, that Turk saying, it was on my bag in the car. Well, it's clearly falling off of him in some of the videos. It was on the ground. Why would they be picking that up anyway? This whole thing just stinks to high heaven of, like you said, with everything. I don't know. I've said, even to this point, almost 2 months later, I'm not ruling anything in or out of that. But if it was, and I have my doubts, if it wasn't a .6 round. It wasn't that 98 Mauser that they found over there that has what's his name's DNA on it. Because it could be a 5.56 or something. I could say, well, maybe you're getting the realm of possibility. Some hit him with a high. It wasn't a pistol round as far as I could tell, because they don't cause that kind of cavitation. That's a high-powered round of some kind. But if it was an .6, like I said, either way, there would have either been a big hole coming out. If there was anybody standing behind that little whatever backdrop and there were people there, it went through about 4 or 5 of them before it finally slowed down. I mean, this, let's cut the crapiola of and immediately everything they've tried to feed us makes absolutely no sense, Dr. Kelly.
I agree with you. And as much as, Charlie was a friend, I did not really know Erica, but everything I knew about her, I believed was legit. But even this part, even the idea that, I watched, like many millions of people, I'm sure, the memorial service for him that was held, I believe it was just under 2 weeks after the assassination. And it was a little bit more like a Super Bowl halftime, show with, lights and fog machines and, all sorts of, it was very much a highly produced event that it struck me as odd. It struck me as odd. None of this proves anything other than the fact I can tell you, as a trauma specialist, as somebody who spent my life treating gunshot wounds, and as I said, and as I am also, I'm not a munitions expert, but I have a lot of guns. I shoot a lot of guns. I know how they behave, and that includes long guns, ARs and rifles and other long guns. I know what damage they do, and I can tell you right now, if you had shot the gun that they are saying this kid had on the roof, if you shoot it into a pork shoulder, duct taped to a target, you will blow it to smithereens with that gun, and it simply isn't plausible that this is the weapon that was used. But it is the behavior of the people around him, his own, quote, security detail, and the way that everybody acted that is so strange. It just does not make sense to me. And frankly, tragically, we may never get to the bottom of it. There have been all these conspiracies trying to tie this to Israel and things that Charlie said about that. I knew Charlie personally. I believe he was fundamentally one of the best people I've ever known. I don't believe he had an evil bone in his body. I don't know why someone would try to take him out other than that he was making people uncomfortable with the way that he spoke to young people, the way that he resonated, and he made people uncomfortable because he showed the flaws in their own arguments. He was nothing but respectful. Anybody who says he was a racist or a bigot or a homophobe or any of that knows not which they speak, because he was none of those things. And I say that from personal experience with him.
We've got a couple minutes left. Anything else our audience should know?
Well, I think the thing to watch from my perspective this week is the first of what may be multiple hearings in front of the Senate of Dr. Casey Means, the current nominee for Surgeon General. As you may recall, the original nomination for Surgeon General, Dr. Jeanette Nashwatt, she removed her name from consideration after it was finally exposed that she was a complete fraud. She had falsified everything, including where she actually went to medical school, and she was forced fundamentally to withdraw her name. Unfortunately, Robert Kennedy and the president have now put Dr. Casey Means up for consideration. She's the nominee, and she's going to sit in front of the Senate on Thursday for the initial committee hearing. To be clear, I don't know Casey Means personally. I have nothing against her other than the fact that she did not complete a residency. She had a nervous breakdown and dropped out. She doesn't have a medical license and has never actually practiced medicine as a physician because of that. And I think it's going to be tough for her to gain the respect and confidence and credibility of America's doctors and other healthcare professionals who, like me, have spent decades in the trenches, who have treated patients, who understand what it is to run a practice and to hold life and death in your hands. And it's tough, I think, to have her out there as the Surgeon General when none of those things apply to her. So it'll be interesting to watch and see how that first hearing on Thursday plays out.
Thanks for being on, Dr. Kelly. We'll do this again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Roy.
Dr. Kelly Victory, as we say, saying it only as she can. That again, the whole Charlie Kirk thing. I'm just like, again, I'm not ruling anything in or out at this point. I can't, along with everybody else I've seen that's been an expert in ballistics or medicine or anything else, you have to change the story to make what they're trying to feed us work. It's like climate change, the COVID con, Gavin Newsom, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Poppy Bush. The whole gamut of these con artists that shovel this ish down our throats every day. Man, it's like, holy cow. Are we finally going to figure this stuff out enough? Got a week to go. Even though it does not look like center-right freedom and liberty types are turning out, we got a week to go. Get those ballots in. No on 50. Gavin Newsom's being cocky about it. He's even telling people, don't even send any more money in. We don't need it. They think they're going to win it. The return rate keeps coming in like it is. They probably will. Although, again, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. I think that's going to empower more. Probably in Indiana will join Missouri, Texas, North Carolina, Virginia, that are already planning redistricting to match it. You'll probably get a couple more jump in there on that. So it's probably, even if they win, 50 is probably going to backfire on Newsom. Yeah, it'll solidify his little campaign to run as president in the left-wing nutcase crowd. But hey, if he's, again, be careful what you wish for. That has probably a 15 to 25% ceiling rate at max. He might lose worse than Kamala did on that. We'll touch on a few local stories, and one day I'll learn how to spell. Purdue woman charged with murdering her boyfriend testifies it was self-defense. She beat him with a skillet. I kid you not. That's what the press report says. I mean, you can't make these stories up. We'll see how that goes for her. Of that, not saying that it wasn't, but of course we got the ID of the killer of Deputy Andrew Nunez, Angelo Jose Salazar, 47, the motorcyclist of Purdue, the motorcyclist that shot at him and then was ultimately bumped off the road by a sheriff's deputy up there. Rancho C cop busting felons, so they're still on the job, even though their hearts are heavy after losing one of their brothers on that. So keep the Rancho C cops and Andrew Nunez's family in your thoughts and prayers going forward. Hemet cops busting the retail theft biz. Absolutely fantastic what these guys are doing out there. Hemet's really taking a lead in this, so good job for that. Trump says lock them up. All these clowns that have entered the Biden administration that were doing the lawfare and everything, full circle. Check that out on IE Newswire on that. And what a day. Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. Sure, we'll have lots more to talk about. I got little like 3 things of the 27 I had up. It gets better every day. Look on the bright side. We're going to fix this stuff one way or the other. Take it away, Sean.
All right, take it easy, Roy. I'll talk to you in a couple days.
You got it.